Good morning and welcome to FCT Brief. And this morning we will be examining the gathering storm in Nigeria's political scene. As the nation gradually inches closer to the 2027 general elections, the atmosphere is charged with signs of realignment, loyalty tests, and looming power battles within and across political parties. The road to 2027 is already being paved with subtle maneuvers and overt declarations. Party loyalty, once taken for granted, is now being tested as political heavyweights weigh their options whether to stay in their current camps or seek greener pastures elsewhere. From the ruling party to the opposition, alliances are being negotiated behind closed doors, with defections and reconciliations shaping the balance of power. Old grievances are resurfacing, while new deals are being struck to secure relevance ahead of the next election cycle.
Observers note that loyalty to party leadership is becoming a crucial currency as ambitious politicians jostle for recognition and survival. For some, staying in line with the party hierarchy could guarantee a future ticket. For others, rebellion or defection might seem the only viable path to political survival. But beyond party lines, the ultimate test is who controls the grassroots supports and who commands the influence at the national stage. These battles, experts say, will not only determine who emerges as standard bearers in 2027, but also reshape the architecture of Nigeria's political system. One thing is certain, Nigerians are witnessing the early stages of what promises to be an intense political season. The question remains which alliances will endure or who will pass the loyalty test and who will hold the keys to power in 2027. Matthias Sado is a politician, a public affairs analyst, and he is live with us here in our studio this morning. Also with us is Jide Ojo. He is a development consultant, an author, and a public affairs analyst. Good morning, gentlemen. It's good to have you in our studio.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Well, let's jump straight in, and I would like to begin with you, Mr. Sado. The end of this emergency rule that we saw in Rivers State some would say, seem to have calmed the political temperature. What would you say is the take-home lesson from this? And what does it say about the balance of power as well between the federal and the state?
Well, thank you for having me this morning. First of all, I think my position on the issue of state of emergency, right from when it was declared in Rivers State, I've been against it. I believe that it was wrong. It's not something that we should be practicing in a democracy. The president clearly lacks the power to do so. So that is granted. So whatever happens after that, I believe it was more like trying to build something on nothing, and all the activities, everything that led to the recall or the lifting of suspension of the governor. And the excitement that was created, personally, I wasn't too excited about it. However, now talking about what lessons for politicians in all of these things, I think it will be for us to look at the political system in Nigeria. I have been one person who have said that we have gotten a lot of things wrong fundamentally in our politics. And I think there's a popular saying that said, when the purpose of a thing is not known, abuse is inevitable. Exactly. Mostly the people who we see jumping around in the political space do not really understand the purpose of politics. And so for that reason, or maybe let's say they understand the purpose of politics, but they are not able to separate politics with governance. And when you are not able to separate politics with governance, you always mix up a lot of things. The excitement being created by the ruling party in terms of, I saw a lot of billboards belonging to the current president. I've seen a lot of people coming out to see endorsements and what have you. It clearly tells you that the system or the leadership at the moment, like the APC leadership, does not clearly understand what to do at the moment, because they are in a state of confusion. And the confusion is caused by the kinds of policies that they have, the unpopular policies that they have come up with. What I expect to see with the opposition, the people that want to present alternatives, I would have loved a situation where we are able to begin to have an engagement that is, you know, someone said you can't change a thing by just maybe fighting it, but you can change it by bringing an alternative. You can bring different level, you can bring a different, an idea that is superior to the idea that you think it's not good for the people. And these are the things that are, I think, are lacking in our political conversations. And I think as we begin to look forward to 2027, these are the kind of conversations that are the kind of questions that I want to see being put on the table of those who want to be leaders in 2027. We have had, you know, there's what's the introduction of this conversation about mental health. I'm one person that believes that most of our people, most of Nigerian politicians, I think there's something that is mentally wrong with many of them.
We'll come back to that right after this short break. Don't go anywhere. We still have more for you on the program. Grab your coffee. We'll be right back. Thank you for staying with TVC Breakfast. Now, we're still sticking with the political intrigues ahead of 2027. I'll continue our conversation.
Yeah, Mr. Jidejo, ahead of every major election, we do have electoral reforms. The National Assembly actually preparing for one public hearing. But my worry, Constitutional Review, my worry also is this crop of politicians, are they capable of giving Nigerians the kind of electoral reform we really want? Now, because every now and then you hear people defecting from one political party to the other. Should it even be an issue when you are elected on the platform of Party A, and while still in office, you defect to another party? Should it be debated that you have lost the confidence of the people who brought you in ab initio, and we should have that enshrined in our law books?
Thank you. Politics is a game of interest. And for a politician, self-preservation is the first law of nature. You and I know that this whole agitation about trying to prevent defections, cross-carpeting has not worked, because the culprits are the one we expect to make the law against themselves. And that is why I gave that prelude that politics is a game of interest. I'm very disappointed with the 10th National Assembly. This is September. They are still doing public hearing. Are we saying we don't know the issues? This has become a recurring decimal. Every National Assembly will spend billions, not even millions, billions annually, perennially, to do electoral reform. And then when they do it, they leave loopholes that you can exploit to make sure that that thing does not work. The 2022 Electoral Act was, I'm part of the civil society. I was involved in the advocacy around the electoral reform under Buhari, the 2 electoral reforms that were done. But what did we see? When it came to implementation, loopholes here and there that could be explored, and the court, we blame the court.
Don't you blame even the civil society? You have lawyers amongst you.
Well, how do you blame us? We are not the lawmakers. You come up with bouquet of things to do. For instance, even yesterday I granted an interview about what should go into electoral reform. We are talking of diaspora voting, out-of-country voting, early voting provisions, voting by prisoners. We are talking of having all elections in one day. We are talking about, strengthening the law against cross-carpeting and all of that. But not so deaf as those who will not hear. You can make all the memoranda. Today, ahead of this, millions have been spent on advertisement over the weekend. Oh, come to Congress or come and make your presentation. Is it that they don't know? They don't know. They have institutional memory. But everybody, it's an opportunity to make some money for themselves. And the worst part for me is not even the money they want to make, is that they are not expeditious. By February next year, INEC is under obligation to release timetable for 2027. If as at September, you have not even you have not voted at the level of National Assembly for those areas you want amended in our Constitution and Electoral Act, so that the state can take over from you. Meanwhile, by next month, budget will take precedence. Can you see? So by the time you food drag, and it's December, you say, oh, we need to pass this budget expeditiously. So every other thing goes to the back burner. By the time INEC release timetable, you cannot be changing the rules in the middle of the game. So it is called filibustering. And it is deliberate. Because, you have a constitution that says for lawmakers, federal lawmakers, section 68 subsection 1G, you cannot defect except there is crisis at the national headquarters of your party. That is the only ground by which you can defect. There's irreconcilable difference, factions, and all of that. And they would deliberately orchestrate that factionalization in order to justify their defections. But that is even for lawmakers. I've searched the Constitution. There is nowhere where a governor or a president is forbidden from cross-carpeting. That's right. That's why all of them who have defected, from the Akwa Ibom to Delta to Cross River to name them, all of them, about 8 of them that have defected under this in the last few years, none of them have been sacked by the judiciary because there's no provision for them to be sacked. You in one hand, you said lawmakers should not defect, but the chief executive who controls the budget can defect without any sanction, without any punishment. So what kind of impunity are you creating? And now the contradiction, TJS and Shomo, the contradiction is that the people, when the judiciary wants to interpret vote, they said the vote you cast is for the party, not for the candidate.
Exactly.
That has been established by Supreme Court in a number of judgments.
All right, Mr.
That you vote for the party. If I vote for the party and I'm the one that sponsored you, why shouldn't you relinquish my seat if you want to leave?
All right, Mr. Ojo, I'll come back to you, Mr. Sado. Very closely tied to this position is that the current INEC chairman, Mahmoud Yakubu's tenure is winding down. And the search for a new INEC chairman is already stirring debate. And over the appointment powers and also electoral reforms. How far can reforms realistically go before the next election cycle?
Well, see, the issue really is the fact that the people we have in these positions, just like my brother have said, many of them do not have the intention to do anything positive for the country. The people ab initio, their mindset about politics, about leadership is completely, it is a selfish drive for most of them. So right from that place, that position, you can see that it becomes difficult for even if we postulate, we make suggestions, we say whatever we want to say. Those who are going to take the decisions, what is the mindset? What kind of mindset do they have? A lot of people have praised the president. He's a political juggernaut. He's this and that. He has been able to In fact, the APC has been celebrating all over the place, saying that the president has been able that's the right word now. He has been able to decimate the opposition political party, and they think that this is a thing to celebrate.
You agree with me that no matter what we say here on this table, politicians will always be politicians, and you cannot rule out that act of politicking. So, now, what would you say should shape the minds of the voters ahead of 2027? Because politicians will not change. What would you say that the voters should look out for?
The key things that will shape the minds of voters as far as 2027 is concerned is what exactly are you going through at the moment. As I'm sitting down here with you now, I've received more than 3 text messages of people asking for school fees. These are people that ordinarily don't, in fact, they do give out. So what I believe that the impact of the decisions of this government has affected the people, ordinary people on the street. And when it comes to taking decisions in 2027, I believe that they will take decisions based on what they are passing through currently. However, there is something very fundamental you mentioned about how the reforms will be able to give birth to a better elections. Chief Jide has just listed a lot of activities, a lot of recommendations that should be implemented by the National Assembly or this government if they are serious about giving us a kind of election system that can deliver quality set of people that can help us to take this country to the next level. However, we know that, is it the 10th National Assembly? The 10th National Assembly that has become a joke? So what do they have to offer? Okay. Now, for us, maybe the only thing we can continue to do here is to serve as pressure groups to say, no, well, these things that you guys are doing, it's not the best. I hope that, and I pray that the citizens of this country will begin to, take it upon themselves that we as a people must determine those who get elected into positions of leadership in this country. Okay. Until we are able to get that sorted out, I think we'll just be wasting our time making noise about this Nigerian politics. All right,
Mr. Ojo, let me come to you with this. In every democracy, we have 3 classes: the ruling class, the opposition, and the people. Now, you said politics is a game of interest. Mm-hmm. Definitely the ruling class want to preserve itself. Mm-hmm. And also the alternative. The opposition is supposed to provide an alternative. But the question is, the opposition we have now, some people say it's just the coming together of several people who seem disgruntled with the ruling class. So they find themselves in there. Now, but what is the class of the people doing? Are the people not too docile, not too quiet, that they are asking questions? When they're asking questions from the opposition, why is the opposition not talking? Why is the ruling party not doing what should be done? So let's look at the role of the people ahead of 2027.
There's a popular saying that eternal vigilance is the price of liberty. For the political class, don't expect too much from them, whether the opposition or the ruling. Today's opposition was yesterday's ruling. And I'm always very reluctant to base performance on party basis, because the difference between the ruling party and the opposition is that you find between 6 and half a dozen. PDP destroyed Nigeria for 16 years. Who are the people in APC today? 2/3 of people in APC today were previously in PDP for 16, 20 years. So this party, this state is PDP state. Today, where is Delta? Where is Akwa Ibom? Are they still in? So the issue is, party system is just a platform to contest an election, because we do not have provision for independent candidacy, which is one of the things civil society is putting on the table. Let's have alternative to this class of ruinous politicians whose only focus is self-preservation, self-aggrandizement. So you don't blame the victim. The other citizens are the victims here. I've been writing for 35 years. I started writing for newspaper in 1990. If I were to be in public service, I should be thinking of retirement after 35 years. What have I not said? What have I not written? I've been writing for Punch newspaper for 13 years consecutively, since 2012. What have I not said in my column? Every Wednesday. So the point is not so deaf as those who will not hear. People have gone on protest. How did the security agencies deal with them? We have the answers. We have the end bad governance last year. We have had a lot of public interest litigation. SERAP is almost always in court every week. So what else do you want the ordinary citizens to do? You come out to protest, you could be shot, and there will be no accountability for who has shot, who has killed, who has made. There are people disappearing. So the bottom line is that people are cowed, and everybody is now waiting for their own turn to get liberated, to get their own breakthrough, because there is no critical mass. We have not been able to form that critical mass. And I do hope, let me say this, I do hope we will not get to the Nepalese situation where the youth of the country will now take the loss onto themselves to say that you old people have disappointed us, the future belongs to us, we will seize it by fire, by force. So it is for the political class in their enlightened best interest to do the right thing, improve the security and welfare for citizens. That's the provision of Section 14, subsection 2B of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of
Quite
Nigeria.
a lot to say, but we have very limited time. But we must say thank you so much for your contributions on the program, Mr. Ojo and Mr. Sado. It's a pleasure always having you with us. Thank you so much.